All right, welcome. It's indisputable. Good to be with you. We got a lot of show, a lot on the agenda. Breaking down news of the day. We got the big homie Jackson White, co-founder and EIC of Politiscope, TYT Rebel HQ contributor, creator. Also in the bullpen, Dave Spencer, host of Practically Political. It's a podcast. We're going to talk about self-defense doctrine in the United States of America. Should be fun. Top story of the day. We've been covering this on Indisputable, a disturbing trend. Parents having to deal with racism inside of the schools, their children being victimized, and the administration doing nothing about it. Let me bring your attention to an 11-year-old kid who is being called the N-word and the school system not responding appropriately. This is in Northeast Seattle, all right? Let's put a picture up of the parents. AJ and Craig Crescelius, all right? They are heartbroken. Their 11-year-old is transitioning to remote learning. Why? Because of his experiences with racism in Monroe School District. Fox 13 reported. It gets deeper. When asked about the racism at the high school, Monroe Public School responded via a public information officer with a letter that was previously released to parents. Specific questions went unanswered. When questioned about an 11-year-old driven from in-person learning, the district stopped responding altogether. They ignored it. Well, that's common in this situation because they ignored all of the warning signs and the bullying and the racism that led up to this. So of course, they're going to ignore the local news agency who has now made an inquiry. There's more. According to the students' parents, it's a common feeling. They told Fox 13 that they even showed up for a follow-up meeting with the principal of their son's school, only to find that no one else had showed up. They note they received an apology and a rescheduled meeting. Why were they meeting? They were meeting because according to Craig, the father, he started to be called the N-word, talking about the 11-year-old, to the point where he thought being called the N-word was just normal. He broke down and told my wife about what was happening, and he said, and I quote, "I don't know, maybe it's just a thing kids say," okay? AJ, the boy's mother, she said she felt like the district made their family choose between her son's safety and his education. Now, they say they're not set up for virtual learning, okay? So that's not a long-term solution, said Craig, the father. Again, with that comment, it felt like we're being pushed out, added AJ, the mother. Instead of, how is he doing? What can we do? It was more, just so you know, this isn't something we're set up to do long-term. So what are your plans? I mean, damn. Kid being called the N-word, no response from the administration, not being held accountable, and then treating the parents this way when they're trying to do all they can to protect their child. They have now taken their child out of this institution. Now, what have we seen lately? We've covered it right here. Not only are children contemplating suicide, we covered 2 suicides right here on Indisputable of children that killed themselves because of racism inside of the school. And it's not just because of racism. Keep this in mind. It's also because the administrators do not show the proper support when our kids, when our children, when our babies are being bullied in this manner. If we responded accordingly, children would be alive. You see, the problem is not about critical race theory being taught in K through 12 education, because it's not. The problem is it should be. All right, Jackson, what are your thoughts?
I think that this is a real demonstration of how racism is a recycled, learned set of perceptions and behaviors to really tap into our, kind of more of the savage sides of our human drive for survival. As we know, whites have always been and continue to be the true minorities in world population, and pretty much the driving force of how they've maintained economic privilege throughout the centuries is through violence, through genocide, through deceit, and all the methods that we're familiar with rather. And so obviously children who are putting forth these behaviors really just shows that, as we talked about on our last show, that these types of behaviors are learned because they're not yet old enough to have really developed an open understanding of the world that's truly their own. So they're getting these types of behaviors from their parents. And of course, these attitudes continue to perpetuate the privilege of maintaining economic privilege within the hands of white America. And so I think it's important to point out actually, Ruby Bridges, who was the first black girl to desegregate schools in the South. My father is actually 4 years older than her. And we think about these types of issues as if they're really ancient history, when in fact they're not at all. And all of us know people who have gone through pretty horrific experiences in their childhood. And even to this day, as we see with this story now, that this type of attitude hasn't gone anywhere.
And very well said. Let me remind everyone of what indoctrination means. Indoctrination means you are unable to critically think about what you believe. You cannot challenge what you believe, even if truth comes right in front of you. Your indoctrination will lead you to believe something contrary. Well, these students and their parents and these administrators are indoctrinated to believe that racism is not racism, that the evils of bigotry aren't really that bad against black children, but they are. And that's why they should probably sit for a course of critical race theory themselves. Let me take you to a related but unrelated situation. Candace Owens. Candace Owens, the #1 black white supremacist in America. Candace Owens has now said something completely unsurprising about black people in her defense of white people and in her criticism of black folks. She does this routine. She says what white people would like to say who are bigots, but cannot say freely and openly. So they simply bring her on their show so she can say what they cannot. In an interview with Tucker Carlson on Fox News, the safe haven of all things racist, Tucker Carlson questioned Candace Owens about the tragedy that happened during that Christmas parade. Candace Owens claims that it was racially motivated and that black people are the most murderous group in America. Here it is.
They are so race obsessed. And one thing I always say, Tucker, is that the left can pull a racist narrative from thin air where it doesn't exist. But when it actually is in their face, they try to avoid it at all costs, especially when the perpetrator is a black person against another white person, which obviously happens more often in this country, given the fact that black Americans are the most murderous group in America by rate. Here you have a man who was pointedly talking about white people all across social media, sometimes genocidal, by the way.
Now remember, these are the same people that give cover to the murderers of Ahmaud Arbery, give cover to Rittenhouse and individuals that do not fit their particular social narrative. Here's the reality. The reality is this guy, not a good person, somebody that's on my ish list. I have absolutely no love for the guy who ran through that parade. But let's be clear about what happened. For claims that Owens said Darrell Brooks was targeting white people. Let's bring you the facts, okay? The police chief, Thompson, said the incident was not a terrorist event. Thompson would also say that Darrell Brooks, and I quote, was fleeing a domestic disturbance with a report of a knife when he rammed into the parade. This is a guy allegedly who committed a criminal act, who's committing another criminal act in order to get away from the responsibility of said criminal act. Pretty straightforward, all right? For Owens' claims that black people are the most murderous group, let me go ahead and give you some insight to that. We deal with facts here. According to the FBI, their expanded homicide data from 2018, the most recent report of this kind, Reuters was able to find 80.7% of the murders of white people were committed by white people, okay? 15.5% of the murders of white people were committed by black offenders, 514, all right? In reality, rates of white on white and black on black homicides are similar and remain within 10 percentage points of each other, around 80% and 90% respectively. Likewise, rates of black on white and white on black homicide remain within 8 percentage points of each other at around 16 and 18 and 8%, excuse me. And police kill black people at a disproportionate and much higher rate than they kill their white counterparts. No surprise there. And here's another data set. White people get away with murder more so than black people. That's another one. Jackson, what are your thoughts about Candace Owens continuing this contrary narrative as it relates to anything black in the United States of America and how she's trying to connect this simple-minded criminal, in my opinion, to some larger conversation about racism in this country?
Well, this is, of course, Candace doing what she does, her being a, just sad, pathetic sellout and public defender of old white America's feelings, and her old, white fans on Fox News and other right-wing media outlets have no clue that her own people don't claim her and would gladly trade her for a moldy government cheese sandwich or whatever else just to get her out of here. And a lot of black people don't even know who she is. And the reason that a lot of black people don't know who she is because she has no real impact within the black community, because everything she says is nonsense. Of course, black people being the most violent group in the country is a trope that's been trumpeted ever since slavery. After slavery was ended, it was the blacks who were gonna come and rape everybody and kill everybody and cause all the crime. It was the blacks who, to this day are so dangerous. As on our last show we talked about, black kids routinely get beat up in inner city areas and elementary and middle schools.
Yep.
So, she's really just a joke, and she's permanently trapped herself in this box, and there's nothing else that she'll ever be able to do. And her audience won't be around for very much longer. So it'll be interesting to see where she is in, maybe 15, 20 years.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. 2 people die in police custody. A mother and son duo die in police custody. Because of what? Police restraints. I kid you not. A mother and son in Mississippi. This is a very sad story. A mother and son in Mississippi both died in police restraints, years separated from each other, but died the same way. Let's put up the son. His name is Robert. Let's put his picture up. Robert Loggins, all right? Died in police custody in 2018. Debbie Loggins, Robert's mother, died after being arrested in 2005. That's her, okay? Let me show you how these 2 stories are connected. Robert Loggins died this way. Police officers were called to a home after a neighbor said, "Someone's in the back of my house calling for help." Police officers found Robert face down with his arms tucked underneath his body, all right? Officers repeatedly asked Loggins to put his hand behind his back. Police video shows Robert Loggins saying, "Y'all going to kill me?" he asked. "Nobody's going to kill you," an officer reassured him. "My soul belongs to Jesus Christ," he told them. "Take your hands from up under you," an officer barked. "He's my savior," Loggins said. "Your ass belongs to us now," an officer replied. Police officers also proceeded to tase Robert 8 times. Body cam footage shows officers striking him with a flashlight, all right? That's not it. That's not what killed him. After handcuffing the 5'8", 190-pound man, officers carried him to a carport where a report by the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation claims Loggins' disorderly behavior kept emergency personnel from conducting a full medical assessment. That's their narrative, all right? But body cam video paints a different picture. As officers carry logins, an EMT can be heard saying, "He looks fine to me." In less than an hour, he was dead. And yet another fatality linked to police use of dangerous restraint techniques that the Justice Department condemned in 1995. I'm gonna show you what they did to him. The agency, along with the International Association of Chiefs of Police, warned law enforcement officials that keeping people restrained face down in what is known as the prone position increased the risk of death from asphyxia. They already knew about this in the 90s. Really, it was a conversation in the late 80s. They ended up officially saying it's a no-no in 1995. Okay, this police agency continues to do it. Here's the video of what happened to Robert in police custody. Here it is. All right. This is routine business for them. This is part of their culture of policing, doing what has been deemed to be inappropriate since 1995. But it doesn't stop them at all. He's taken into custody upside down, still in the prone position. He struggles as the officers watch. Police officers get on top of him to restrain him. He then stops breathing. Officers finally notice that he has stopped breathing, and what are they doing? They're gonna try to revive him now, because now they're in trouble, or at least should be, right? Yeah. Officers determined his death was due to what? Asphyxia. Exactly what they said would happen in 1995, okay? He died exactly the way they said a person would die if you do this to them while they're in your custody. They listen to nada, they respect nothing. 5 officers were placed on administrative leave with pay, but there were no criminal charges and no actions against them. The Investigations Bureau interviewed the officers who denied any wrongdoing. And then we go deeper. We go deeper. And what do we find? Robert's mom. Put a picture up again. Now here's what I want you to understand. This is more than a coincidence. This tells me that the actions are so normative by this police agency that a mother and a son, years apart, die the exact same way by the exact same agencies. Robert's mother died in a similar way. She was restrained in the hog-tie position after being arrested for getting into a fight with another woman. After they hog-tied this lady, she was placed into the back of a squad car. During the trip to jail, she became quiet and may have stopped breathing at that time. She was pronounced dead at 7:37 a.m. In the case of Debbie Loggins, the coroner's chart suggested that blood work should be done to rule out positional asphyxia, but no test results are reflected in the autopsy report. The late pathologist who conducted the autopsy, Dr. Stephen Hain, made no mention of positional asphyxia in his findings. Haynes, whose autopsies have been called into question, concluded that her death was an accident, blaming her excessive exertional activity. The Justice Department told officers to stop using this hog tie method as a form of policing because of what could happen to a person. And let me show you what it looks like. Here's what it looks like. All right, we've all seen it before. This is a reminder, okay? That kills people. And in this case, it killed a mother and it killed a son. Both of them dead, all right? Just because a person should meet a judge does not mean they should meet a maker. A joint investigation by NBC News and the Marshall Project identified at least 23 deaths involving hog tying or similar restraints across the country since 2010. At least 13 of the people who died had mental illness or were in a mental crisis. Damn. Tragedy, right? Completely avoidable if people would simply protect and serve as they're paid to do. Jackson, what are your thoughts about this?
So, I think, police in many ways are gangsters, enforcers of institutional culture and authority. And just like gangsters and enforcers, without violence, they really have nothing to work with. And I think it's important for people to really think about, when it comes to asphyxiation and how people die from this pretty routinely, how difficult it really is to take someone's life with your hands, how much effort and exertion you really have to put into that. It's not like a thing to where it's like, oh, whoops, I accidentally killed somebody. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'6", about 215, 220, been in combat for years. And these police officers, more likely than not, are nowhere near as big as me. So for me they have to put forth way more exertion than, so just to give you an example, like these men are really, really trying to hurt people.
Yeah.
It's not like you can't just accidentally do this. Again, so it's really important for people to keep that in mind, that this type of stuff, do you just willy-nilly kill people accidentally in your everyday life? No, that's something to think about.
Yeah, and see, and this is why it's important to pass good legislation. There's a policy on the table that has gone nowhere, the George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act. If that actually got passed, it would have, one, mandated reporting of officers like this so we can all see it in a transparent manner. And it would increase the federal government's ability to actually go after criminal cops, even if there's no local statute or local DA who's willing to prosecute them for these insane activities. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay. All right, welcome back. We got a lot of show left. Let's get to it. Let me remind everyone, we got Dr. Derek Hamilton, professor and founding director of the Institute on Race, Power, and Political Economy at the New School. Dr. Derek Hamilton is joining none other than Senator Nina Turner. That's on the conversation today. Tune in 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on tyt.com/live or on the YouTube channel. All right. Right after Indisputable, we got a Twitchuation. We got our girl Francesca. All right. Make sure you tune in. Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Twitch.tv/TYT. That's because it's a Twitch exclusive. Shout out to all of my Twitch people. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
I feel free! Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life. Why are you taking pictures?
Huh?
Why are you taking pictures?
Why are you asking me?
Because I don't want you to have a picture of me.
Well, I don't want you to interrupt me in what I'm doing, so.
Well, I want to know what you're doing. This is private property.
Is this private property?
Yeah, but taking pictures on private property is.
No,
Am I on
we're
private
not
property?
On private property.
Who are you and what are you doing?
Who the hell are you?
I go to church here.
Good for you.
And I'm a citizen of Newport Beach. So what are you taking pictures of?
It's none of your business, like I said.
Okay, I'll just call 911.
Well, go right ahead. You call whoever you want. Come out here aggressive like that. Just go inside and enjoy your day.
Taking pictures of
Who says I'm taking pictures of you? You got rose bushes here. You got the American flag back there.
You just pointed the camera at me and took a picture.
You're way off in the
walked up
distance.
to the
You walked up to
camera.
me, so you're making yourself
And you took
part of the
a
show
picture,
now.
drove in. So tell me what you're doing.
It's not, like I said, none of your business.
It's none of your business.
Who are you that you're entitled?
Why did you wear that color today?
Because I look good in it.
Why do you have
Because I'm a pretty lady.
Why do you have a red phone?
And because I am a pretty lady.
Why do you have
and
a
I'm
red
not
phone?
an old Richie.
Why do you have a red phone?
Because I like red.
Good for you.
Yeah, and you have a red attitude, very aggressive.
Hi.
Did y'all see where she pulled that phone from? Okay, there's more because, Karens do what they do, call the police. And here's what she said to the Popo. Here it is.
Hi, we have people here at 798 on Dover Drive at our church, and they're out here taking pictures of everyone that's coming in and out, and also across at the park.
Oh no.
And they won't tell me why they're taking pictures, so I'd like somebody to come by and take it. They're taking pictures of me right now as I'm calling you.
Very good. Don't lie, because making a false police report is a crime in itself.
Yeah, we're on a public sidewalk.
Yeah, you might as well tell them we're on a public sidewalk.
One lady has brown hair, wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, this lady came out aggressive towards us on the sidewalk. She's wearing a red sweater, black pants, black shoes, and she's claiming that I'm taking pictures of her, but she's standing in front of my camera right now, so she is in front of my camera. She chose to walk up to my camera. So if you could send somebody out, because this lady's making me fear for myself. She's like getting aggressive towards me, and I don't know who she is. She's demanding that I tell her what I'm doing, and I don't need to tell her what I'm doing. She seems kind of entitled. Bye, Karen. Uh-oh, coming back for more.
I hope you have a good day.
I already am having a good day.
Have a good day.
You too. God bless you. God bless you, Karen.
OG Karen. OG Karen don't give a damn about what the law says. She calls the police and says, no, listen, you don't understand. They're taking pictures, and they're taking pictures while I'm actually talking to you. Well, Karen, listen, there's no statute against picture taking. And there's no statute against taking pictures while you're on a telephone. This is really interesting. Once again, making a big deal out of something really, really simple and small. But Karens do this, and this can lead to some very dangerous consequences for people. Obviously, this couple, they handled themselves appropriately. But we highlight these Karens as a social dynamic, a construct that we must deconstruct. And also, we provide an opportunity, we provide a mirror opportunity for those who are would-be Karens to see exactly what they look like in these situations. Jackson, thoughts here?
I wish I could wake up just for a day with the amount of entitlement that people like this have, just to experience what it's like. And clearly, it seemed like she did this to a white couple, but even at that, just the age and the category that she's in, and he said it, she's very entitled. But again, just the thought process of a Karen, from start to finish, is you see something and I don't like that. That makes me unhappy. You know what I'm saying? They shouldn't be doing that. Everything is mine. Everything belongs to me. Let me call the police, because they're gonna do what I want them to do. Even though this is a trivial matter, they're gonna handle it because you have those expectations that they will. Yep. And so it, like you said, this is good to continue to point these things out because it shows, what's really going on in people's everyday lives. And what's interesting, and well, it's not even interesting, is reality is that she's right. She's very likely to have the police pull up on her and do much of whatever she'd like.
Yeah, and that's why we have to continue to spotlight it because, yes, hand in glove, typically, Karen and police, right? That's how it has usually worked. And now we're seeing that start to transform. Why? Public sentiment is changing. People are willing to record incidents like this. And now police officers are more on guard. They don't want to be caught up in defending a Karen situation because they may end up on indisputable also. Have you ever been on a crowded subway, a crowded train, Jackson?
Yes, I'm living up here in Jersey. I'm in the city all the time. So yeah, I've spent a decent amount of time, yeah.
All right, well, I got something for you. Double dose.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Because now I can't stand back like this so I can satisfy you? Who the f*** think you are?
Yeah, there are children on the train.
Oh, excuse me, mind your business. Move your arm.
Everyone's business right
Move your
now.
arm. No, it's not your business. I paid my fare. Okay?
Their fare.
So not to have your arm in front of my face.
Look around.
I don't give a what's around me. I care what's in front of me. Understand that? I'm not here for nobody else. I'm here for me. Now what's the problem? You're waiting for what? For me to say the PLEASE? Because I'm not going to do it.
I'm not moving anywhere. I am holding on to the ball.
My husband
Like
was here
Andy's gonna
racing me
butt.
down. Yeah. If my husband's an officer, this wouldn't happen. Trust me. That is nice.
Somebody say, absolutely.
You are a pampered man.
I was thinking more like a quarter, but I'll go with that.
My amazing investigative team here at Indisputable has identified this particular Karen. Her name is Lois Griffin, the wife of Peter Griffin. Everybody had arms in front of everybody. It was a crowded ass situation. The line that really sticks with me is when she said, "I wish my husband was here." What's Peter Griffin gonna do about this? All right, Jackson, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, apparently Peter Griffin, I think I heard her say that he's an officer, and so it seems like he's been slipping the drugs. You know, that when the police they rob the drug dealers, he's been slipping her a little bit too much of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and it sounded like she's there in Boston or something. She had a very, very thick Boston accent. But yeah, no, that would have been rough to deal with, because you know, as men, you kind of learn to deal with women in a very non-emotionally reactive way over time, just to keep you cool. But that would be difficult. You know what I'm saying? Be like, man, if you don't get out my face.
But you know what's interesting about that video? When you look at the video, literally almost everybody has somebody else's arm in front of them. Okay, like, okay, this is very common. I get it. If you all were on a subway or train, plenty of room, no issue. Okay, maybe you're upset the guy won't just move over. Where was he going to go, Karen?
He was gonna put his left arm up there instead of his right.
That's it. All right, we got more on the other side. It's Indisputable. Stick and stay. All right, welcome back. We got a lot of show left. Let me go to the comments quickly. TYT member Lynn says, "It shouldn't surprise me by now, but it never ceases to amaze me how people think they can demand identification from and purpose of others. Then in the next breath state, I'm calling 911. Right. Joffrey, Richie Dragon. Dr. Richie, I knew about restraint asphyxia from my mental health training. I found out the police still use these positions when they did it to my wife. Fortunately, she survived, but I can tell you I was more than enraged. Jeffrey, I'm sorry to hear that happen, all right? Glad everything worked out. Noah 6, thank you so much, says you're amazing. Thank you for that very kind gift. Twitch, Lisa Egan, why do these people think it's okay to question strangers for just existing? Yeah, okay. All right, what if I told you there's a guy in a wheelchair and a cop behind him, and the cop decides to put 9 bullets in him and put it in his back? But that's exactly what happened. Here's the video.
Got his knife in his other hand. Okay. Do not go to the store, sir.
Stop now. You need to.
Bravo 1-8, shots fired.
I'm gonna get my back.
That man is dead. Shot in the back in a wheelchair by a cop. He's dead. Let me give you some background to this extreme criminal action by this cop. This happened in Tucson, Arizona. The cop was fired after the video showed him fatally shooting a man in a wheelchair 9 times. 9. Damn near trying to empty the clip. Okay. This was pretty swift as far as the video coming out. The police agencies, they're not standing with this cop. According to Channel 12 News, the fired officer was identified as Ryan Remington, a 4-year veteran of the force. The Arizona Republic reported that Remington had been working off-duty at a Walmart. You heard me. Off duty as a security guard. Security guard. Okay. The man that was shot was identified as a 61-year-old male. His name is Richard Lee Richards, who previously had past run-ins with the law. I really don't care about his past run-ins. He was a victim, a murder victim, in my opinion. Here's a picture of Mr. Richards. Okay? So let me tell you what happened here. The incident reportedly started at the Walmart when an employee told Remington that Richards stole a toolbox. Okay, I don't give a damn if he did steal a toolbox. A toolbox does not equate to human life, right? Remington tried to stop Richards and ask him for a receipt. Richards then pulled out a knife and said, "Here's your receipt," according to police. The knife, however, is not visible in the video from a camera in the Walmart parking lot, which shows Remington following Richards toward the Lowe's. After Remington, the cop, opens fire on Richards, video from Lowe's shows the officer handcuffing the victim on the ground after he falls out of his wheelchair. Richards was pronounced dead a short time later. The county attorney's office, they are investigating the incident. We're gonna stay on top of this story because I think murder charges would apply here. Shame on the other cops for not intervening. I mean, you are watching, there's a reason why none of the other cops shot the guy in the wheelchair, okay? Because they did not see a life-threatening situation. The only person who was threatening life was the other cop. What happened to your duty to intervene? I know it seems extreme, but imagine you're a security guard, you're shooting a guy in a wheelchair in his back, and you're a cop, right? You're a cop watching it. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to protect life. That's what you're supposed to do. But you don't have the fortitude. You don't have the moral clarity. You lack the intellectual honesty about what your job actually is, which is to protect and serve people like him who got shot in the back and killed by one of your colleagues and you did nothing about it. Jackson, what are your thoughts here?
Like we said in the last law enforcement story of the day, gangsters. This is what they do. And this may be one of the most unnecessary police violence videos I've ever seen in my life. All that needed to be done literally is the wheelchair just needed to be constrained. Just grab the back of the wheelchair. Even if he has a knife, he can't move like you. It's not difficult for you to be able to handle that situation. And like we talked about on break, when you think about atrocious acts that people take and how many instances and opportunities they had to pull back. He shot him 9 times.
Yeah.
A man in a wheelchair who possibly the least threatening situation that you can think of. 9 shots. That it's sick. It's really sick.
You know what else is really sick? When you go back and look at the video, the last shot number 9, there was a pause.
Mm-hmm.
And then he shoots him again for good measure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
Just in case.
Just in case. Sick as hell. And this cop has various non-lethal remedies at his disposal. Taser, he has his billy club, he has his combat training. They are taught all of these non-lethal remedies to de-escalate, to make sure life is preserved. He went to 1,000 like that. All right, he's been fired, he's under investigation. We'll see what happens. We're gonna continue to follow the story. Okay, I told you so. Remember when I told you that this whole battle against critical race theory, this made up war against CRT that's not even taught in K through 12 education. I told you that Republicans are just using CRT as a disguise in order to get rid of actual history teaching inside of our classrooms. Well, I got proof. Tennessee group, because of a new Tennessee law, a Tennessee group has filed anti-critical race theory complaints targeting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Ruby Bridges. Told you it was coming. Tennessee group, they've done this. These are Black history books. These are nonsensical complaints against them. Let me give you the background. A group of conservative parents in Tennessee, they have filed the state's first complaint under the new anti-CRT law, which it passed in May. Predictably, the books targeted by the complaint are not books on critical race theory. They are books based around regular Black history, the civil rights movement era stories of Martin Luther King Jr. and Ruby Bridges. According to Insider, the Williamson County branch of conservative parents, the group Moms for Liberty, filed an 11-page complaint claiming that the book Martin Luther King Jr. and the March on Washington was included in a number of books the group declared to be anti-American and anti-white, as well as guilty of promoted, and I quote, a slanted obsession with historical mistakes. That's what regular ass history is now, a slanted obsession with historical mistakes. But that means it's true. If it's historical, it's true. Okay. Fortunately, the Tennessee Department of Education, now here's the kicker, they said it will not investigate the claims, not for the reasons you think, okay? Unfortunately, the department did not decline the investigation because the complaint was racist and ridiculous. They declined it because the lessons happened during the 2020-2021 school year, and it only has the authority based on the law to investigate lessons from the current school year, according to the report. So basically, Moms for Liberty, all right, can still target basic Black history books for nonsensical complaints as long as they're taught in the current school year, and the Department of Education would treat said complaints like they're worthy of even being entertained. Now here's the reality. If these Moms for Liberty didn't even bother to read the damn law, do you think they read the books? Hell no. But once again, this was their ultimate goal, to get rid of actual history inside of our classrooms because they don't like what the truth is. Jackson, what do you see here?
So what I see is major projection. And it's interesting about how the tactic of going after critical race theory, because the idea is that if we keep talking about it, that's what perpetuates it. When in fact, it's the opposite. When you stop talking about it, that's what perpetuates the realities of institutional racism. Because when you don't discuss it and when you don't understand how America came to be where it is today, then things like the fact that police kill more African Americans than anyone else don't become an issue, they become the norm. The fact that African Americans have much less access to economic rights, that becomes because, well, we just don't work hard enough and we just need to take more responsibility. The crime rates, it's just because we're savages. The Latinos, the things that they go through, it's just because they're coming over here and Mexico only has their worst to sin. It's those things that become realities because you don't discuss things like, just like slavery, just that. Everyone knows what it is, but typically it's taught as just kind of like a backwoods thing that people did in the South, when in fact it was the engine that made American capitalism what it was, as it pumped out the most important commodity of the times, and how as technology changed, slavery changed along with it, and how up until this day, again, all the disparities, the reason that we understand them is because we discuss these issues. And so, again, we can't talk about these issues because if we talk about them, then we can do something about them.
That's right, very well said. You cannot change what you fail to acknowledge. And as long as they try to stop the acknowledgement phase, it would never be a challenge to change it, all right? Okay, there's a member of Congress, she's brand new. Her racism, however, is not. Lauren Boebert, she has been featured on Fox News. She is a national conservative, white, status, privileged, bigoted figure. Now, where does she get it from? She get it from her mama. Let's put up the duo This is a picture they took. Let's put up the duo here, mother-daughter duo at Lauren's restaurant Shooter's Grill, okay? Now, I got some video that resurfaced. The video took place a few years ago, but man, this is her mother and her mother's friend. Here it is.
Today, we're here to talk about things we hate. And her and I, we got a lot of things we hate. Lots. Okay, so you know what I hate?
What do you hate, girl?
I hate when I pull up to a red light or even a gas station and you're sitting there and you're listening to a nice country song or maybe even some classic rock and roll, some Leonard Skinner. And you get, well, I don't know if we're allowed to, are we allowed to say Mexican? Mm-hmm. Is that?
It's politically correct.
Okay, Mexican.
Brown people.
Oh, I'm brown. I'm not a Mexican though. But anyways, I hate it whenever they're like playing that hat music, you know, that da 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 da, and they blast it. Anyways, I hate that. What do you hate?
Girl, I hate when you go to the store, to the Walmart.
To the store.
To the Walmart. You got to wait behind 80,000 other kind of people.
Brown?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they don't speak no English, and you trying to be friendly and get out their way, and their damn kids be running into you with their damn carts.
Oh, them little car carts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you talking about the brown people, right?
Yeah.
Because they go
hate
shopping.
the Walmart.
I hate the whole entire family.
They go with the whole family.
They go with the
grandma and the grandpa
and the
aunts and the uncles and the 80 daddies.
And the cousins.
And the 80 different kids with 80 different daddies.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, I hate it.
I like when them brown people and they come to the Walmart and they got them shoes that go whoop, like that. They're a spike. And they walking and they trying to walk through the Walmart. I can't even walk through the Walmart in a pair of flip-flops, and they're gonna come up in there with 7-inch heels and try and look good while they're grocery shopping. That's what I want to do. I want to look good while I'm grocery shopping, not
the woman on the left. Her name is Sean. Sean is the mother of Lauren Boebert. Sean produced a whole damn US congressperson who, by the way, says even more racist things than her mother, keeping the tradition alive. Now, they will say, oh, this was us just trying to be comedians. We were telling jokes. Yeah, that's it. We were being funny. Nothing funny about it. It was a racist rant, pure and simple. Jackson, what are your thoughts here?
I have to say this, but both of them look like they secretly love sleeping with black men. I had to say that. Man. I had to say it.
I'm about to fall out.
But look, but outside of that, you know, again, like you said, she produced a congresswoman, and like we were just talking about as well. I think it's important to note that, again, Elon Musk was tweeting with this woman about taxes and what Joe Biden's really trying to do by increasing the IRS staff. Like, okay, you know, yeah. This is the climate that we live in. But I had to say that because it's probably true.
Man, I laugh so hard because I get where you're coming from. All right. Jackson, I appreciate you, brother. Always a pleasure having you on Indisputable. Tell people how they can follow you, check out your great work.
Oh yeah, definitely check me out on Rebel HQ. I do videos Monday through Friday, just breaking down what's going on in the country, and especially be important moving into midterms and the elections coming soon. So check us out and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Politiscope app.
There it is. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.